Let me make sure the recording is actually happening. Oh, great, it is. Fantastic. I'm Anne.
And I'm Brian.
And we've got a little yoga for you today. So find a comfortable seat. It can be on letter M. Funny. Today's class is brought to you by the letter M from Brian's sock. That's very odd.
Right? The whole letter came off.
All right, I'll show you all what that looks like. There you go. M or W. So M, regardless of that, find yourself a comfortable seat. It might be on a folded up blanket or a block or a pillow or something like that. And we're just gonna inhale our arms out wide and up. Exhale, push the hands down in front of us, doing prana mudra, inhaling the arms wide and up. Exhaling, pushing down, bringing us into our place on the mat. Again, inhaling, arms wide. Exhaling, pushing down. We'll do a few more rounds of this. Inhaling, the arms wide. Exhale, push the hands down. Welcome, Kristen. Good to see you. So we'll continue our prana mudra. There we go. Let's pin that. And the next time the arms are above the head, inhaling them out wide and up, keep them up there. And we're going to turn the body to the right and take the left hand to the outside of the right leg. Right hand comes down behind you towards the ground. Look over your right shoulder for a gentle seated twist. Starting off twisting. Great way to charge up your day, so to speak. When you're ready, we'll inhale, arms out wide and up again, coming back to center. This time, let's twist to the left. So bringing the right hand to the outside of the left leg. Left hand comes to the ground behind you. You look back over your left shoulder. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling completely. We'll inhale the arms out wide and up again, coming back to center. Exhale, hands come down to prayer, right at the center of your chest. From here, we'll find the spot where the ribs separate, right in the center. I'll come up to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So it's right there. That's the bottom of the sternum. Feel free to take the pads of the fingers and gently press on that area and draw little circles there for a heart massage. I know that my heart is up here, but we're gonna pretend it's here right now in this area, which we do tense when we're trying to protect our hearts. Oh, my heart, I must protect it. Right now, you don't need to protect your heart. So when you're ready, switch directions, massaging that area the other way. If it hurts to press on this area, you can just chafe the fingers over the area. You don't have to press in. Breathing deep. Actually, you know what? I'll stay here. And then on your next exhale, swipe the knife edge of a hand out along the bottom of the ribs like this. So inhaling deeply, exhaling. Inhaling deeply, exhaling. One last time, inhaling deeply, exhaling. And then just shake the hands off. We were just swiping out the doldrums of winter right there. From here, what do you think? Hands and knees?
Yes.
Do you want to do the whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So feel free to come to hands and knees. If you're practicing on a hardwood or stone or just uncomfortable surface, you're welcome to take a folded up blanket and place it under the knees.
So we're going to get into some cat-cowing to loosen up the spine. As you inhale, the butt comes up. Tail comes up, that is. Belly drops, head comes up, coming into cow.
You said butt.
I said butt. Exhale. Drop the tailbone, drop your butt, round the spine, drop the head. So just going back and forth, inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat.
I thought this was a family thing.
Then we're gonna get a circular motion into the spine. So the next time you inhale into cow, on the exhale, round off to one side, coming into cat. Continuing that rounding off to the other side, coming back into cow. So now we're making a circular motion with the torso. You can just let the head just kind of relax and go with the motion of the spine. And when you're ready, let's switch the direction that we're drawing that circle. And then you can come back to center. Did I do some thread the needle?
Yeah.
So let's spread the hand fingers really wide on the right hand. We'll turn to the left, reach that left arm up towards the sky, and then exhale, thread the needle. So send that left arm underneath of the right arm, left shoulder comes to the earth, left ear comes to the earth.
If it's hard for you to get your left shoulder, well, to get your left ear to the earth, it's not so hard to get the left shoulder there, but if getting the left ear there is really hard. You can roll up in front of your mat and give yourself something to rest your head on, like this.
Or use like a block or a book.
Or even a pillow. It's all good. Just feel free to bring the earth to you if need be.
So we're here in this stretch for the left shoulder. If you want to get more twist, you can interlace both fingers and try to straighten that top arm. That gives you a little bit more twist. If you want to get a little more pretzel-y, you can inhale that right arm up to the sky, and then you can exhale it to the sacrum, and then maybe slide it around. Maybe you find the outer upper left thigh with that hand.
Can we get extra tough?
Sure.
If you want to get extra tough, you'll have to watch Brian for this because here, I'll turn around so you can see my right side. So here we are all wrapped up and everything. Traditionally, you could tuck the toes of both feet and slide the right foot back, lifting the right foot, keeping it parallel to the ground for a little balancing pose. If you want to challenge your glute strength here, you can actually take that right foot out to about 3 o'clock, if your head's at noon, and lift the right foot off of the ground like this. This engages all sorts of interesting muscles in the butt. I said it too. This is really not a family-friendly test. So when you're ready, we'll bend the right knee, bringing it back, inhaling the left arm up, exhale the left hand down next to the feet.
That's the right hand.
I'm sorry, right hand. Inhale, left arm up, unwinding. Thank you, Brad. Exhale, left hand down, coming back to hands.
So we'll do the same thing on the other side. So this time, spreading the fingers really wide on the left hand. We're gonna turn to the right, reach that right arm up towards the sky. And on an exhale, we're gonna thread the needle. So we're gonna send that right arm underneath the left arm, coming down to the left shoulder, right shoulder, coming down to the right ear. And maybe this is good enough for you. If you're getting all you need out of this stretch, you don't wanna go any further, that's fine. There's never requirement that you have to do everything to its most extreme edge. Does not. Now, if you want to get a little more twist, you can interlace the fingers, start to try to straighten that top arm. If you want even more of a twist, you can inhale that left arm up to the sky, bring it down to the sacrum, maybe wind it around and find the outer upper right thigh. And if you want to take it even further, you can take that left leg out to about 9 o'clock and then inhale, lift it. Woo! Feel free to come out of it whenever you need to. This doesn't have to be yoga torture. And then when you're ready, you can take it, bend that knee, bring that left leg back under you. Inhale that left arm up to the sky. Exhale it down next to your face. We're going to inhale, coming out of the twist, turning one more time to the right, reaching that right arm to the sky for a counter twist. Exhale, coming back to tabletop.
And then from here, feel free, if your rotator cuffs aren't bothering you, feel free to walk your hands, one hand width forward, and bring the torso down towards the mat for playful puppy. If you have rotator cuff injuries, bend your elbows, draw your elbows back a couple inches, and then just tuck the chin to let the crown of the head rest on the mat. Shoulders are right above the elbows, hands come straight out from the elbows down the mat. This is called rabbit. It's one form of rabbit. And you know, while we're here, whether you're in playful puppy or rabbit, let's do the other form of rabbit as well. So when you're ready, after you're milked the fullest of your playful puppy or your rabbit, we'll bring our hips back towards our heels for child's pose, extending the arms out in front of you. And then from here, let's take the hands back, wrap them around the heels if you can grab them. And let's lift the hips off of the mat or off of the heels, bringing the crown of the head towards the mat. You can either rest the crown of the head on the mat, or you can rest it just in the air 1 inch above the mat. This is rabbit posture, another rabbit posture. There's so many rabbits in this world, and somehow we shouldn't be surprised. So when you're ready, stretching your back out like this, rounding through the shoulders, lengthening the spine. Eventually we'll bring the hips back towards the heels. Stretch the arms out in front of you, coming through hands and knees. We'll tuck the toes, lift the hips with the downward facing dog. So let's go over our downward facing dog real quick, starting at the foundation. The fingers are spread wide and gripping the mat. It should be hard for someone to come by and lift my fingers off the mat. They are glued to the mat. The base of the pointer finger is glued to the mat, everything. The heel of the hand, and my hands are a little wider than shoulder width distance, give or take. Now I'm gonna look at my feet. They're slightly wider than hips width distance, parallel, facing, pointing towards the front of the mat. And I want my weight to be evenly distributed by hands and between hands and feet. So if you want to come forward a little bit, see what it's like to have most of your weight on your hands, you can. Or you can come back, see what it's like to have most of the weight on your feet. Now find that spot right in the middle. You need to bend your knees, come up onto your tiptoes, lift the hips even higher, and then start drawing the heels down towards the back of the mat. That's totally fine. If you need to pedal one knee and then the other, stretching each hamstring one by one, that is fine. Well, each leg one by one, stretching the hamstrings at least like one by one. And then from here, make sure that you're not sitting in your shoulders here. So if your shoulders are creeping up nearby your ears like this, bring the head forward just a little bit. It's still facing down at the mat so that you have a little bit of space in the armpits. It's almost like there's a rounding of the armpits, like you're making a hollow in the armpit. That should keep your neck nice and long and the shoulder blades pulling down the back towards the tailbone. Might feel funny because you're kind of upside down, so the shoulder blades are actually kind of pulling up. But they're aiming at the tailbone. That's the important part. From here, if you're still with me and you're comfortable, feel free to lift your right hand and reach it back towards the outside of your left knee. Give yourself a little twist, looking under the left armpit. And when you're ready, or place the left hand, again, that firm, strong grip. I'm sorry, the right hand. And we'll lift the left hand and reach for the outside of the right knee, giving yourself a twist the other way, looking under your right armpit. And when you're ready, we'll place the left hand. Let's come forward to plank now. We'll get a break in a minute. But check your plank if you can. If your back is rounding like this, bring your heart down, lengthening the line between shoulders and heels. Breathing deep. Building strength in the abdomen, strength in the shoulders, pulling the kneecaps towards the back of the legs, lengthening through the legs, and then when you're ready, we'll lift the hips, coming back to downward facing dog. Feel free to walk the hands back down the mat towards the feet. You can bend your knees as much as you need to here. And we'll find ourselves at a forward fold at the back of the mat. And then when you're ready, we'll just roll all the way up to standing. Inhaling the shoulders up to the ears. Exhaling them down the back, palms face out. Here we are in mountain posture. And I'm going to go over some principles of that. So I'll come up close so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So mountain posture is deceptively simple or challenging or something. I don't know. There's certain qualities to it that are very subtle. So I'll go over that. Feet are either hips width distance, which is 2 fists come together. And then you take them in between the arches of the feet. There's your hips width distance, or big toes can come to touch. If that is the case, and you have your big toes touching, have a couple of inches between your heels, like that. So the sides of the feet, the outside sides of the feet are parallel. From here, I'll show from the side, I'm actually going to stick my tailbone out like this. The reason why is it creates an internal rotation for the whole leg, for the thigh and the calf. Everything is turning in here. It's not really the most comfortable or beautiful pose, but then from here, we'll take this tailbone that's sticking straight out, tuck the tailbone. So now we have that internal rotation on the lower leg from the knee down, and an external rotation in the upper leg, in the thigh and the hips. That is a really nice form for mountain posture, whether your feet are together or separate. Then from here, we lift the heart. But the key is having the heart lifted like this. We want the ribs to actually be tracking down. So feel free to take the hands on either side of the ribs, tuck the ribs a bit, and then keep the heart lifted. Palms are facing out, keeping the chest open like this. And then the last part, the cherry on top. Chin is tucked. And it's not tucked down in Jalandhara Bandha like this where the chin is touching the neck, but just gently tucked. So you're not here with your head up, receiving some blissful transmission from the universe, but you're here with your chin down, receiving some blissful transmission from the universe. So there you are in mountain. Very strong, very rigid posture right now. So we deal with rigidity. I know. So we bounce. Feel free to shake it off. How would you describe? You talk about bouncing. I talk too much.
Bouncing, shaking it up. It's just good for you. It does all kinds of great stuff.
And this is Zoom yoga, so you can bounce.
Elevates your
It's
mood.
totally crazy and nobody's gonna care.
Elevates your mood. It's good to fight osteoporosis. I'm trying to remember what else it's good for. It's good for
It's
so
good
many
for
things.
helping take away somaticized trauma.
Yes,
Trauma
it's good for
held in
shaking
the
off
body.
trauma.
It's good for so many
There's a
things.
reason why when some of us are in a very traumatic situation, we shake uncontrollably. That is actually the body shaking it off and trying to help you through that.
Or if
So-
you've ever taken your pet to the vet and they just do not want to go there because they know where they're going and they start shaking uncontrollably, that's them trying to head off that vet trauma at the past. So it's a thing. Animals do it, people do it. We're doing it right now. You can allow that shaking they kind of turn into a gentle twisting like this. Does that seem like a good idea? Should we twist?
Sure. Like
Shall we
we did-
twist like we did last summer? It's like
Yeah.
twisting like we did last summer. And the summer before that too, I think.
And we were twisting the night away. Too.
And we twisted in the daytime too.
And in the day.
And in the winter. Twisting all year. Twisting is so good for digestion. So eventually you can let that bouncing come to stillness, but keep twisting. Very nice.
Had to get an official.
I know. I knew that bouncing was good. I mean, I could have done another half hour of that, but we're twisting. It's official now. So in our official twist, let's bring our arms up to chest height like we're skimming water, and we'll tie in our breathing to our movement. Traditional yoking of breath and movement. We'll inhale right, exhale left, like this. From here, you can bring your arms up into goalpost arms, same thing, inhaling right, exhaling left, maybe making the sound. And then let's take our arms down like we are manually turning a hula hoop, making the same sound and loving on our livers. Inhaling right, exhaling left. And you can let it all unwind, slowing down your twist. And guess what? Shaking some more, because why not? Feel free to shake off that twist if need be. Want to do like some figure eights with swimming too? Just get a
Yeah.
all-in-one kind of standing event.
Keeping a sort of a wide-legged stance, doesn't have to be too wide, maybe mat's width distance or so or less. And we're gonna do some figure eights. So that's gonna look like you take one hip from the back to the front, then you take the other hip from the back to the
So
front.
show from the side.
Making a figure eight with the hips.
I can feel everything swirling around from this twist and these figure eights.
Now we're gonna add in some arm motion to this. So I'm doing it differently.
I'm doing front to back.
I'm going back to front. So I'm
All right. Well,
Because I
let's
said-
all take our hips front to back initially, because that seems to be for a lot of people a more natural movement. So what that is we'll bring the right hip forward, take it back. Then the left hip, as you see, is forward. We take it back. So it's bringing one hip forward and then back, bringing the other hip forward and then back. And if you want to get the arms involved, which is something the spine just loves, feel free to do a backstroke here. So there's a snaking of the spine here, an S curve of the spine as it goes side to side. I'll show you on my own spine. I should have a line drawn down the back of my shirt for this. And then when you've done a few of these, if you're starting to get a little dizzy and up in your head, just shake it off again. It grounds you as well, another benefit to shaking. And then from here, we'll take the hips the other way, back to front. So one hip, it's really one butt, that's the magic word of the day. One butt cheek comes forward, then the other, like this. So this is the manifestation of this movement that is a little confusing for a lot of people. For whatever reason, it's easier for a lot of us to try doing hips front to back as opposed to back to front like this. But if you involve the arms, that might make a little more sense. So this time we're swimming forward. We're doing the crawl, I want to call it. Swimming has never been my strong suit, but swimming through air is pretty pleasant. Enjoying a symphony of creaking floorboards if you're practicing in the old house like us. And then when you're ready, shaking it off. I feel very warmed up.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to bring it down to the mat and do some like bird dogging?
Sure.
All
She just
right.
loves that,
The bird dogging.
that title.
It really is the best. I don't love the title, but it's the only name we found for this movement we're going to do in a second. So coming to the front of the mat or anywhere on the mat, really, we're going to come down through a yoga squat. So really, you don't even have to be on the mat here. We'll inhale the arms wide and up. Exhale, bending the knees, drawing the palms together in front of you. There we go. Here we are in a squat. So a few squat principles real quick. I'll show from the side. So we want a nice long spine here. My back is mostly straight. You see a little tuck in my tail, but that's fine. I could try to stick it out and then come back down. Really, there's a little tuck of the tail here. The key though is my chest. It's very easy for me to squat like this, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. If I keep the spine nice and long, I prevent unnecessary wear and tear on my vertebra and the distance between them. That is the key here. So you can use your elbows if you want to push the knees open and lengthen the spine. Some of us might even need to come up a little bit out of the hips to keep the spine long. And of course, if you want to place a block under your hips, you're welcome to do that, or folded up blanket or any kind of firm cushion for support. And if this kind of squat, this low, is hard for you, you can always come out of it some and try it like this, closer to awkward chair posture this way. But you'll still build a lot of strength in the thighs and wake up the body. Then from here, if you want to come into crow, it is an option, or you can stay here and squat, or you can come to seated and just come to child's pose. So crow, palms of the hands are flat on the ground in front of me, and I'm in my squat. It's not, you don't have to be too fussy right now about your spine on this part. And then I want to make sure my hands are coming straight out from my shoulders. So just kind of take the hands to the shoulders, bring them straight down. Okay, there we go. That's about shoulder width distance. From here, I lift the hips, bring the knees towards the armpits like that. And then just kind of bring my body forward like this. I might be able to lift one foot or the other. It's okay if your knees are sliding down the backs of your arms a little bit. If you have a long torso like me, it's probably happening. And then eventually we'll just kind of float and lengthen the body, maybe even bringing the head a little more forward, but making sure to keep that balance between the weight of the head and the weight of the hips. Holding, but not holding your breath. Maybe even bringing the feet closer to the hip. And then when you're ready, come back to your squat, walk the hands forward, and return to our old friend, hands and knees. You want to teach the bird dog? And if you want to have a pad under your knees, by all means, feel free to put a folded up blanket there.
So again, lining up wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to reach our left arm forward. We're going to reach our left leg back.
Left arm, left
I'm sorry, left arm, right leg back. Sorry about that. For everybody that fell over, I really apologize. It can be done, but it's not.
It can be done.
So we're left arm forward, right leg back. Let's press out through, activate the foot. So it's like you're standing on the wall behind you. So we're not pointing the toes, but we're actually engaging that foot, flexing that foot. Now we're gonna, as gently as possible, replace that hand, replace that knee, and go for reaching the right arm forward, taking the left leg back, activate through that foot. Few breaths here.
So I'm really engaging through the core. It's like I'm lifting my navel towards my spine to help me stay steady in this posture.
Now you can gently replace those hands. Now we're going to do it a little faster. We're going to go back and forth. And the idea here is see if you can keep your back and your hips straight. It's easy when we're lifting one hip, lifting like this, to kind of sink into the knee that's on the ground. Imagine somebody's put a drink right here on this bony part. What is this? This is the sacrum, back, the bottom of the spine. Somebody's got a drink there, and you don't want to spill it, but you have to do this exercise. So try reaching forward with the left arm, right leg back, and then gently replacing it without sinking in the hips. Go for the other arm and leg. So we're just going back and forth. Now this takes a little bit more core engagement to not, sink into one side from one side to the other as we do this. And just going back and forth, reaching opposite arms and legs.
And may I add, do not forget to breathe here.
Oh, yes.
If you wish to time this with your breathing, you could inhale the arm and leg out. And then exhale, replace the hand and foot, or knee. Inhale the other arm and leg out. Exhale, replace the hand and knee.
He's a bird.
All
right, then we'll come back and
from here, I want to do a thing for the wrists because we've been asking a lot of our wrists today between all this hands and knees stuff and curl. So let's take our left hand and turn it so that the palm is face up. And we're resting the back of the left hand on the mat, still in hands and knees here. If this feels like a safe thing to do, you can even bend the left elbow a little bit and draw hips a little bit towards the knees. Very nice. And then from here, we'll lift the left hand again, bring the palm back down on the mat. Do the same thing with the right hand. So turning the top of the right hand down onto the mat, palm face up. Maybe bending the right elbow a little bit, and taking the hips back. Getting a nice counter stretch for the right wrist after all that other wristing we did earlier. Do any other hands and knees things? Because I got an idea. I got a trick up my
I
sleeve.
don't have a trick up my sleeve, so let's hear yours.
All right. And then the last thing you can do here, let's lift that right hand again and replace it. You can sit back on your heels a little bit for possibly doing both hands at once. So first I'll turn the left palm up and then the right palm up. And I'm sitting on my heels here, so I'm not totally supporting myself in my arms. And then if you want to experiment with supporting yourself with your arms, move the hands up the mat a little bit, lift the hips a little bit, and the elbows a little bit. Showing it from the front. This looks pretty weird, huh? But it probably feels pretty deep. Then when you're ready, sit back on the hips, take the hands out in front of you, fold the thumbs into the palms, fold the forefingers around the thumbs, and just draw little circles with the arms out in front of you. If it's uncomfortable to sit on your hips like this, you can always come to a traditional seat. And just rotate those wrists in one direction. And then when you're ready, switch the direction of rotation. So rotate your wrists the other way. Very nice. And then from here, I'm actually going to bring us into a very, very deep quad stretch. I'm going to give you a few options there. So feel free to flap out the hands when you're done. Our hands are cooked. We don't have to do anything more to them. But our legs are only half baked. Surprise, surprise. So from here, you can come into saddle if it is comfortable for you. What it looks like is I have the big toes of my feet touching. My knees are pretty wide. And when I sit my hips back on my feet, my heels actually rest kind of outside of either hip. So that in itself might be enough of a posture for you. And if you have very, very tight psoas muscles, tight hamstrings, tight everything in this area, consider if you want to go any further. This might be as far as you go. From here, I'm going to walk my hands behind me, palms face down, fingers pointing towards my hips. Already, again, a very deep stretch for the hamstrings here. I mean, for the psoas muscles and the quadricep muscles. It's in front of the thighs here. If you feel like it's not deep enough and you want to go further, you can bend your elbows and come to rest on the elbows. My hands are kind of resting on the tops of my feet here underneath of me. Heart is open, spine is long. I'm looking up. This might be a really intense stretch. So if this is too much, feel free to back out and just come to your hands. If it's not enough, you can walk your hands further down the body, coming onto your back, laying here in fully reclined saddle posture, getting a deep stretch for the front of the thighs and the psoas muscles. If this kind of posture looks like torture to you, but you still want a deep stretch, feel free to come up, come onto the belly, bend both legs, take the right hand back and draw, or the left hand, doesn't matter really, draw the heel towards the hip. Do one side, and then maybe do the other side. And get that runner stretch that you need here, making sure to tuck your tail, whether you're in reclined saddle or you're laying on your belly. And if you are in reclined saddle still, wow, your thighs are probably either singing for joy or begging for mercy. When you're ready, we'll put the hands back on the mat, bend the elbows to come up, and place the hands beneath you to bring the torso up. Walk the hands forward and meet our friends who are on their bellies, on our bellies here. So coming down to lay on the belly, you can bend the knees and let the knees rock side to side for a second, loosening up any tension in the hips, any tension in the low back, that type of thing. I was thinking about Sphinx, Cobra, and Locust, if you have anything in mind there.
I like all of them.
You want to do them? You want me
I'll do some, and you do some.
Okay.
So we'll come into Sphinx posture. So this looks like this. Elbows are directly under shoulders, and you can measure off that your alignment is okay if you can grab both elbows. Then you turn your forearms forward, place your palms on the mat. Here we are in Sphinx.
Now my Sphinx looks wrong. What's going on with this?
Well, your Sphinx is wrong because
Why am I so wrong?
shoulders, your elbows are way forward of your shoulders.
So should I have my elbows directly underneath?
Yes, directly under the shoulders.
That Sphinx looks great. And legs coming straight down the mat behind me?
Straight down the mat,
Oh, that's so nice.
feet out, so you're on the tops of your feet. Another thing you want to do here is it's easy to be in this like this, because it's, we're low down here. Try to bring those shoulders down and back, bring the neck nice and long. So it's like you're trying to bring your heart through. So even if though we're like, kind of in this wacky posture, you're still trying to bring the shoulders, the heart out, while we bring the shoulders down and back.
Shining the heart forward. And if your heart is coming through and your chin is coming way up because you're in this blissful Sphinx, again, like mountain posture, tuck the chin slightly, keep the neck long. And you can be in a blissful posture like that. When you're ready, we'll come down, turn the elbows out to either side, rest one hand on top of the other, rest the side of the face on the hands, doesn't matter which side, and let's just kind of wag our tails back and forth, taking away any tension in the low back, specifically the quadratus lumborum, the little almost spider-shaped muscle at the low back, wide spider, smushed spider. And then when you're ready, You can either come back into Sphinx or you can give Cobra a try with me. So Cobra, I'm gonna bring my body up a little higher this time. So my hands initially, let's start off with hands under shoulders. And we'll start with just a little baby Cobra here. It looks like Sphinx. I can take my hands off the ground and support myself with just my upper abdominal muscles here. So that's one option. You can stay there, or you can bend the elbows still, but lift the shoulders a bit more off the mat for a juvenile Cobra, perhaps teenage Cobra. Or if you're feeling very open today, you can walk the hands back just a little bit. Keep the elbows bent here. Round the heart forward for your full expression of Cobra. A lot of people like to do Cobra with the arms fully straight in full Cobra. If you like doing that, put the arms a little further out in front of you. That's fine. If you keep the hands close to you, just make sure to keep the elbows bent. I'll show you from the side what I mean. So some people like a Cobra that's way up here, but you see it's quite a kink on my low back. So I actually want my hands to be out forward some, so I can keep the Cobra bend in the upper back as well as the low back. And one way that I can even sort of make sure I'm doing this gently on my spine is tucking the tail and then lifting through the heart. Then, as you see, my chin is up. I'll gently tuck the chin. Here I am in a nice, proud Cobra. Even though the tail is tucked here, try not to clench the gluteus maximus butt muscles, because we want to keep things kind of loose as we're in this. When you're ready, on your next exhale, come back down onto the mat. Again, taking the elbows out to each side. Again, resting a cheek on top of the hands. It can be the other cheek this time. And again, wagging the tail, releasing any tension in the low back. Breathing deep, feeling your torso rise and fall as you inhale and exhale. And Brian's gonna go over locust with us.
So locust, there's a few different variations of it. So I'll go through a few of them with you, and you can decide which one you like. So we're going to start with hands alongside of the body, palms face down. Now you can try, and the legs, the feet are out on the resting on the tops of your feet. Now one version of locust is you can just try lifting your legs.
And if you're
You
like,
can do it one at a time at first if you like, and then try to take them both up.
and if you're like me and your hips are surprisingly bony and they're mashing into the ground and it feels uncomfortable, you can always put a blanket under your hips for this posture.
Another way is to bring up the legs, bring up the arms as well. And then if you want to do any other variations you can make to make this harder, you can bring up the arms out in front. And that's kind of it. Breathe to come up and keep breathing while you're up. And come out of it whenever you're ready. And you can come in and out. When you're ready, let's come out of it. Let's put the hands one on top of the other. Again,
I think maybe a windshield wiper.
put one cheek on the
hit.
on the hands, and then yes, we can windshield wiper the legs.
Or really, I just want to do that.
And you can even try it with the legs kind of spread a little bit.
Yeah.
And then also try it with the knees closer together and feel the difference and the effect that you get. And then you can decide which one is giving you
The juice.
the juice you need today.
Got the juice. Drink the juice. All right. So from here, we've done so much on our bellies. Let's do some things on our backs. So if you like, you can just roll over onto your back. And let's do some leg lifts. I'll do some bridging.
Okay.
Want to do leg lifts? I'll do bridging.
Sure. So we'll do some leg lifts at first. I'll give you a couple of options here. So many places you can put your hands. You can even have them like, behind your fingers interlaced behind your head. You can have them on the ground, palms face down. Or if you want a little cheat, little extra support for the low back, you can have your arms underneath of the body. So you roll off of one hip, roll off of the other hip. So now my palms are flat on the earth, my thumbs are touching, and we are going to inhale either one or your choice. You can, if you want it extra challenging, you'll go with both legs. If you want it a little more restorative today, you're going to inhale and lift just one leg. So inhale, lifting one or both legs. Exhale, slowly lowering. Inhale, lift both legs or the opposite leg if you're just doing one leg at a time, and slowly lower. So we're just gonna keep going like that. Inhaling a leg up for both of them, slowly exhaling them down. The slower you go, the more challenge you get. Whenever you can keep going, or you can take a break, whatever you like. Eventually, Anne's going to show us.
Eventually, Anne's going to stop doing this. Bridging.
Bridging.
So that movement that we just did with leg lifts strengthens the abdomen, but it also draws the muscles tight amongst themselves. We want to do something to loosen that up. If you have a block, you're welcome to use it. I'm going to turn kind of towards you so you can see what I'm doing here. But it's not necessary if you don't have a block. You don't have to use it. We're just going to come up to bridge. And that block can come in handy in many different ways. The key with bridge is as I inhale my hips up here, I'm not letting my knees splay out to the side. I really want to draw the knees together as I bring my hips up. If you do have a block or a block-like object, you could place it in between the knees, the thinnest part of it. And inhale up, holding that block in. You don't want to let that block fall. You want to keep it held tightly between your legs, like it's some kind of vice grip. Inhaling the hips up, maybe tucking the shoulders underneath the body, and then maybe interlacing the fingers of both hands right below your hips. We can hang out here for just another few breaths. Watching your belly rise as you inhale, fall as you exhale. Really holding through the glutes, through the thighs, and through the back. Pushing the belly up and stretching out those abdominal muscles. And when you're ready, you can separate your fingers, roll the spine down, vertebra by vertebra. Remove the block from between the knees if you were using that. Draw the knees towards the chest and just gently rock side to side here. We're going to do this one more time, and it's up to you. You can either make it hard on yourself or turn it into a restorative bridge. I'll show the restorative bridge. So again, we can inhale up. This time, if you have a block between your knees and you want to try a restorative bridge, you can take the block out and place it under the hips. Small, medium, or tall setting, whatever you like on that block. And suddenly, with my hips resting on the block, it's right underneath my sacrum, that's my tailbone. So my tail is tucked by default of this. Suddenly my muscles are kind of like, oh, you gave me a break. Look at you, that's very nice. So if you're here with the hips being held up by the block, we're gonna go a little bit further. You can stretch one leg out in front of you, and then the other leg out in front of you. Now it's a very deep, deep stretch for the psoas muscles at the front of the hips. They connect from the low back to the thighs, or the thigh bone, I should say, and they're helpful
Walking, sitting, running, jumping, moving, and being a human. And then if you're here with your legs extended and your hips supported by a block or a block-like object, you can stretch one arm out overhead, stretch the other arm out overhead, coming into sort of this V shape. Breathing deeply. If you're practicing this just in bridge without a block, feel free to come down at any point. If you are supporting your hips with a block, bend one knee, placing the sole of the foot on the ground. Bend the other knee, placing the other foot on the ground. Lift the hips again, remove the block, draw the hips back down towards the mat, rolling down the spine, vertebra by vertebra. And then let's bring the knees again in towards the chest. This time, let's put the hands on top of the knees and draw little circles on the wall behind us with the knees. So it's a different kind of massage for the low back here. When you're ready, we'll take those circles the other way.
I got a creaky patch of floor over here.
And let's do one deep hip opener here on our backs before we finish up today. So happy baby, you have options, but it's really just options is where you put your hands. So you can either bring your hands to the outside of your feet or to the inside of your feet, bend the knees, draw the knees towards the armpits and also kind of towards the ground and stand on the ceiling like this. So the soles of my feet are a good, 6 feet away from the ceiling or so, but you get the idea. If you prefer hooking the first 2 fingers between the big toe and the second toe, you can do that, drawing the feet towards you that way, bending the elbows if need be. And if you like to rock from one side to the other, you can do that. Maybe if you rock to one side, you extend that leg long. Maybe rocking to the other side, extend the other leg long. Either way. And then last but not least, let's draw, you can take your hands off your feet and put them on your ankles now. Draw the soles of the feet together. So we're in this reclined cobbler's position. And then push the knees away from the body as you use your hands to draw your ankles towards your hips. It's a very deep stretch on our backs. And then lastly, you can bring the soles of the feet to the ground, knees bent. This time, let's try doing Supta Baddha Konasana, supine bound angle posture. Let's let the knees fall out to the side. Soles of the feet are together. You can move the soles of the feet away from the hips if you need to let the knees rest sort of gently in the air. If you have a couple blocks or block-like objects, you can rest them under the knees here. That's totally fine. Or if you don't, that's okay. The further away from your body your feet are, the less intense this is going to be on your hips. So choose the right position for your feet. If your shoulders feel like they want just a little more, you can take one hand overhead, keeping the elbow bent here, and then take the other hand overhead, clasping one wrist with the other hand. It's like we have 2 diamonds, a diamond between our arms and a diamond between our legs. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling completely. Allowing the body to begin melting into the mat. Allowing the breath to smooth. Preparing for Shavasana. If you wish to practice Shavasana like this, with the knees bent and the elbows bent, you're welcome to. Otherwise, when you're ready, we'll straighten one leg down towards the end of the mat. Straighten the other leg down towards the other end of the mat. Take one arm down along your side. The other arm comes down along the other side, palms face up. If you're like me and you wear glasses, feel free to take them off, put them somewhere safe where you know you're not going to roll over on them by accident. And then here in Shavasana, if you are here with me, feel free to tuck the tail. Feel free to tuck the chin just a little bit so the eyes are pointed straight up at the ceiling. And then feel free to lift the shoulders an inch off the ground. tuck the shoulder blades together and bring the shoulders back down, resting the upper back on the ground. You can practice this practice with closed eyes or open eyes. The key is presence in the body. When you're ready, and if you're ready, feel free to turn the palms face down, face up, face down, face up. And you can continue doing that with the arms, kind of vigorously turning them side to side, waking up the arms from the shoulders down to the fingers. And then keeping your palms turning up, down, up, down, up, down, like this. Let's let the toes rock in, out, in, out, in, out. So we're rotating from the shoulders. We're rotating from the hips as the legs swing in and out, in and out. And then just gently turn your head side to side as you do this. No need to whip the neck from side to side. Just gently energizing and waking up the body, restoring ourselves to consciousness. If you manage to lose consciousness during Shavasana, which I'm sure you did not. So when you're ready, draw the legs together, draw the arms long overhead, stretching long. Bending the knees, bringing them in towards the chest, rocking side to side. We'll rock over onto one side or another. Rest in a fetal position for just a second. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling completely. And then pushing one hand down and then the other to come back up to a comfortable seat. Take the time to sit up on a blanket if you like, and Brian will take us out of this practice.
To seal off the practice and end it, we'll do a couple of rounds of prana mudra. So inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling down. One more time, inhaling up. Exhaling down. Last one, we're going to inhale up. This time, let the palms touch. And we're going to exhale, palms to heart center. If you care to join us in the sound Om, feel free. We'll take a deep inhale. Thank you for joining us today. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.
See you next week.